Greetings, everyone, and welcome to Progressive Discussions number 93, volume 93. Wow, 93 Progressive Discussions already. No, it is not Saturday early afternoon. It is once again Wednesday, hump day, whatever they like to call
it. It's hump day in New Zealand.
The middle of the week. And why are we doing Progressive Discussions number 93? I believe it's 93. If it's not 93, I made a big mistake, but I believe it is. Why are we doing it on a Wednesday? Well, because God willing, knock on wood, hold on. This Saturday, on November 12th, 2011, I will be taking place along with the Renaissance Man Can Create and Irwin Benz of Time Warner, Access Channel 23 in Port Jervis, New Jersey, the annual telethon, the fundraiser, the annual telethon that will be televised on Time Warner to raise money for the station. I will be taking place with that Saturday. So naturally, since we have to be there around 5 p.m., I can't come here. So therefore, we are doing Progressive Discussions today. It happens to be Wednesday, November 9th.
Niner.
That's right. It's
9.
It's my sister. No. 11 is coming.
Oh, that's Herman the Hurricane Cain.
Yeah.
9.
And wait a minute. And then next year will be 12. And guess what? After that, there won't be any more triple digit dates. When you think about it, 2013, there will not be 13 because there is no 13th month. So this is it, man. So maybe that's another omen. Anyway, today happens to be my sister Lisa's birthday, November 9th.
Happy birthday to you, happy birthday to you, happy birthday to Lisa, happy birthday to you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
You saved me the job of singing.
Yeah.
I could sing, but I don't feel like it.
I can sing for my supper.
Sing for your supper? You're a crooner?
Yeah.
You're a crooner? You sing? You don't.
Speaking of crooners,
you don't sing those nauseating love songs, do you?
Yes,
those
I
ballads.
do. Love
Oh, I hate ballads. They make me sick.
Speaking of crooners.
Anyway, I'm sorry.
Andy Williams.
Go ahead.
Has cancer.
I hope he sees Gary. No. Andy Williams?
Andy Williams.
I thought Andy Rooney died too recently.
Andy Rooney died, and Smoking Joe Frazier died. A thriller in Manila.
I'm glad you brought it up. I want to have a moment of silence for one of the greatest boxers of all time. And was Andy Rooney a moderate, a conservative, or a progressive?
I would call Andy Rooney a Democrat or an independent.
So
he saw both sides of the issue.
He saw both sides, but did he fairly critique the people who deserved it?
As far as he could on a corporate channel.
Oh boy, that makes him a moderate.
Okay.
That makes him a moderate, right? But
don't go so far.
But personally, he was a progressive.
I would say.
Because he has to earn my salute with the shillelagh. All right. This is a imported blackthorn shillelagh, imported from Ireland. It is my prop. It has political significance. Plus, it helps me emphasize certain things. A friend on Facebook calls it she says, I love your Irish gavel. I guess, naturally, it kind of does look like a gavel, you know? Which, I never even thought of it. But it does. Anyway, salute. May they rest in peace. One of the greatest boxers of all time, Smoking Joe Frazier, and Andy Rooney, who most of the time was progressive as best he could. They both passed away. My grandmother used to tell me all deaths come in threes.
Celebrity deaths.
Celebrity deaths, yeah. That's right. I'm sorry. Famous celebrity deaths
yeah.
come in threes. And as far back as I can remember, she was right. All right, here we go. Salute. Smoking Joe Frazier and Andy Rooney. Did anybody else famous pass away?
I think so, but
Not that famous?
I think he was a writer or something in showbiz. But I don't remember offhand.
Well, then forget it. All right. Both of them, rest in peace. We send our condolences here from Mega Life 21 and Newsletter Censored. The Shillelagh salute. All right, now, November 9th, my sister's birthday. You sang happy birthday. What else was I going to mention? Yeah, she's a Scorpio. Anyway, I forgot to introduce myself. This is Progressive Discussions number 93. Oh, I hope I'm not making a mistake. I am your host, James P. Madonna of Mega Life 21, the hardest hitting internet talk radio station on the planet, and I'm here with my co-host and mentor, the Reverend Dr. William J. Eisenman. How are you today, sir, on this unseasonably very warm beginning of November?
You can't complain about the day. However, I will say I am elated about the victory in Ohio today.
Yeah.
Against Mr. Governor Kasich and his try to destroy unions.
Oh, so
and collective bargaining, your ability to have your say.
So I suppose Kasich is a conservative Republican.
Oh, he is, and he's got Koch brother money behind him, and ALEC, the the organization of corporations that write your bills for you.
So really, so it seems like, would it be fair to say, Dr. Bill, that there's a pattern that Republicans, conservative Republicans, the elitists, corporate CEOs, and fat cats in general, collectively, do not want the worker to have any rights or any say whatsoever, and they sort of are in favor, if they can get away with it, of slavery.
Yes. And also, I forgot to mention...
And they want you to work for peanuts.
I forgot to mention also the victory in Mississippi, where Mississippi tried to outlaw abortion.
Oh, really?
And every reason for it, such as if you had been raped or etc. And that, of course, would have involved birth control and would have involved all sorts.
So this comes from the right-wing fundamentalist religious nuts who believe that a fertilized egg or an embryo that breathes...
Life begins at conception.
They believe that a fertilized egg or an embryo that breathes like a fish is a human life, which it is not proven to be, and they also believe that stem cell research, most likely, they believe that it's like playing God, so it's wrong. So therefore, sick people, paralyzed people, handicapped people should continue to suffer and drop dead.
They should pray.
That's what they want the poor to do.
That's true.
The right wing. They want you to pray. We'll pray for you. We're not going to give you any food or money, or we're not going to open up any food pantries. We're not going to supply food for food pantries. Like the big one in Paterson, New Jersey, is running out of food for the the hurricane, Irene victims from the flood. No, they're running out of food. Do you see Chris Christie giving up some of his groceries for the food pantry in Paterson?
No.
No. So they don't believe in unions. They don't believe you have the right to complain. They believe you should work for free, become slaves, not have any health benefits, and they believe if you get knocked up by a perverted, incestuous relative, you get raped, that a poor girl should carry the baby for 9 months, whatever, give birth to it, and put it up for adoption or something.
And remember, after birth, they don't care too much about the baby.
That's it. See, the conservative right wing, the GOP, otherwise known as the greedy old party, only cares about babies that are, fetuses and embryos and fertilized eggs. Anything that's inside the womb, they care about a lot. They have practically a heart attack if you talk about abortion. You know, but once the baby is born, once the child enters the H2O, carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide,
then they want to
whatever.
They want to take away your WIC and your welfare payments and everything, you know.
Yeah, once you enter the atmosphere,
Yeah.
once you are smacked on the bottom and start going, you know, wah, 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 you know. Anyway,
It's like 17.
you have no rights. They don't care about you at all. They completely lose interest
There's 17 million
in
kids
the child.
that go to bed hungry in America.
How many is that?
17 million.
You heard it.
Okay.
Now, what about if you're in the baby of an elitist and you have a big fat silver spoon in your mouth and you happen to be born? Then the Republicans care about you, right?
Absolutely.
So, yeah, you want to call it class warfare? You know what? It's justifiable class warfare, and rightfully so, you know. Anyway, first article. Since I don't really have a theme, I'm all themed out from the last two progressive discussions.
Oh boy. Just as 55 million Social Security recipients are about to get their first benefit increase in 3 years,
Oh,
Congress is looking at reducing future raises by adopting a new measure of inflation that also would increase taxes for most families.
What about ending and decreasing the raises going to congressmen and senators? How do you like them apples?
Oh, no.
That's no good?
Off the table. Just like tax increases on the rich. Off the table.
Sounds corrupt to me. What about you?
It's all corrupt.
Human race is really very vile as a species. Very despicable. All right.
The biggest impact falling on those with low incomes. If adopted across the government, the inflation measure would have widespread ramifications. Future increases in veterans' benefits and pensions for federal workers and military personnel would be small. And over time, fewer people would qualify for Medicaid, Head Start, food stamps, school lunch programs, and home heating assistance than under the current measure.
Yeah. Oh, like they really give you a shitload of money, and they really help out the poor.
Yeah.
You ever see the food in food pantries? You don't pick what you want. It's a bunch of crap.
Yeah, it's all crap.
You're not getting certified organic food from Whole Foods Market. Let's put it that way.
Taxes would go up by $60 billion over the next decade because annual adjustments to the tax brackets would be smaller, resulting in more people jumping into higher tax brackets because their wages rose faster than the new inflation measure. Despite fierce opposition from seniors groups, the proposal is gaining momentum in part because it would let policymakers gradually cut benefits and increase taxes in a way that might not be readily apparent to most people. In other words, subterfuge.
Yeah.
That's the way they love to do these things.
Sneaky bastards. I'm glad to announce that the balance of power pretty much remained the same in New Jersey because we had election day yesterday. So the good thing is one more Democrat was elected in Trenton, the State House. So, you know. Anyway.
But the impact as well as savings to the government would grow over time, generating about $200 billion in the first decade and much more after that. The proposal to adopt new consumer price index was floated by the Obama administration during deficit reduction talks in the summer. Now, it is one of the few options supported by both Democratic and Republican members of a joint supercommittee in Congress working to reduce government borrowing. So the Democrats are on board also.
Well, I don't know. Some political analyst was saying last night that the the Democrats are going to start biting instead of just barking, whatever that means.
Well, not according to something like this. I don't see no biting here.
Well, especially if the Democrats are getting their palms greased.
Well, they're getting them greased too.
Just
but
as well.
The point is, they, as it shows here, it's okay to raise the taxes on those lower income, but it's not okay to raise taxes on the higher incomes.
Oh, really?
There it is, right clear in the article, right there.
It's still not okay to raise taxes on the rich.
Right.
Interesting.
The job creators. See all the jobs they created in the last 10 years?
How many?
0.
The center
Zero.
the center of a lard lad donut, which I happen to like to post on Facebook, the cartoon from The Simpsons of the lard lad guy. But the point is this: it's not very fair.
No, fair is not the, it has never been the issue.
It's not fair. It's downright crooked.
But it just goes to show you who they work for, who's their interest. Just open it up for them. Let them come in.
Let him come in.
Whose interests they are.
And let him. Is he going to fuck up the show?
No, you're probably going to bed
Go.
or something.
Go. Just don't bother anybody.
That's our mouser here. One of the mousers here.
Yeah, it's a cat. It doesn't belong to
Yeah.
the Newsletter Censored Research Center here in northeastern New Jersey, but he's a friend. All right.
He's a buddy.
Yeah.
A record number of Americans, 49.1 million, are poor, based on a new census measure that for the first time takes into account rising medical costs and other expenses. The numbers released on Monday are part of a first-ever supplemental poverty measure aimed at providing a fuller picture of poverty. Based on the revised formula, the number of poor people exceeds the record 46.2 million, or 15.1%, that was officially reported in September.
Mm-hmm.
Broken down by group, Americans 65 or older sustained the largest increases in poverty under the revised formula, nearly doubling to 15.9%. Because of medical expenses that are not accounted for in the official rate. Those include rising Medicare premiums, deductibles, and expenses for prescription drugs.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
See, that's not part of the CPI. They don't put oil and food and medical expenses in there.
Did you read that list of Congress and Senate and administration salary figures over on Facebook that I
No, because I went to 3 pages and still didn't get the actual information.
No, it's a JPG. It's an image. It should appear like right as soon as you go to your inbox. It mentions, it's got a breakdown of everybody's salary and how much they're getting, and then there's one that talks about it's got in big letters entitlement, and then it goes on and on to show people that the little guy has paid into Social Security, and I assume Medicare and everything else. And what is this entitlement coming from?
That's the word. That's the propaganda that the Republicans use.
Well, in other words, what they want is they want to convert the mainstream masses into slaves. They don't want you to be educated because they don't want to continue to have a public school education. They want you to pay for it. So that therefore only the rich can send their kids to school.
If you read, there's a movie out now.
Yeah.
On Ayn Rand. If you read Ayn Rand, and if they portray it properly in the movie,
right,
you will see how the Republicans disdain the populace.
Isn't that what imperialism?
Republicans are Tories.
So Ayn Rand would have deserved getting cracked with this shillelagh over the skull many times.
she probably would have fallen in love with someone who hit her over the head with the shillelagh, because she loved the serial killer that she modeled her protagonist on, who cut up a little girl.
And this
trying to get ransom from her father.
And this is the person that
she admired.
And this is the person that Republicans admire.
Well, I don't know if Republicans admire. They admire her philosophy, which is, her philosophy is, altruism is despicable and weakness.
Right, and she believes that selfishness is a virtue.
Selfishness is
greed is good.
Greed is good.
And what about people that are not born in a situation where they have breaks?
They are losers.
What if you have no breaks in life, and what if you grew up in a poor neighborhood, in a poor family?
They are merely the cogs of industry.
So you become a cog. You become a working stiff.
That's it.
You work for peanuts. You work for minimum or less, minimum wage or less.
You work to maintain all of the pleasures for those on the top.
So the people on top, according to these right-wing elitists, are actually better than the mainstream and the poor. They consider themselves to be superior.
Yes.
Okay, which the Bible...
that is a conservative philosophy.
Right.
And it is engendered today by Rand, whatchamacallit, the senator from Kentucky, and Paul Ryan from Ohio.
It sounds...
These people want their staff to read Ayn Rand.
It sounds like it is all very anti-Bible, don't you think?
Oh, it is definitely anti. Ayn Rand was anti-faith.
So who are the real Christians here, people? Lemmings out there?
Christianity for the GOP is only a cover. That's all it is.
It sounds like the progressive liberals are much closer to the God of the Bible than the right-wing fundamentalist conservatives.
Correct.
Republicans. That's what it sounds like if you're familiar with the Bible and what's inside of it.
Conservatives wish to use religion to control the masses. Pure and simple.
So they represent, like we said many times, the devil's economics.
That's correct. That's correct.
Okay.
And we will show you what is on the mind of the GOP today. Instead of jobs. Yeah, jobs. As they say.
Snow jobs. That's what they should change it to. Snow jobs.
Where are the jobs? God knows. After preaching for weeks about the urgency of Washington taking action to create jobs, lawmakers decided to put their mammon where their mouths are. And so last week they descended from the mountaintop and came forth to anoint a jobs bill of biblical proportions.
Oh, sure.
HCONRES 13, reaffirming in God we trust as the official model of the United States.
No, they want to shove their cover version of God and religion down everybody's throat. The conservative version of God, right?
Well, they can't come up with any kind of jobs help, so that's all they do.
Yeah, well, if they trust in God, they would read that God commands them to constantly give to the poor, the rich.
The grace of this legislation taken up on the House floor was not immediately revealed to all. In God we trust has been the nation's official model for 55 years, engraved on the currency and public buildings. There is no emerging movement to change that, but House Republicans chose to look beyond the absence of immediate threats and instead protect the model against yet unimagined threats in the future. The legislation provides Congress with the opportunity to renew its support of a principle that was venerated by the founders of this country and by its presidents on a bipartisan basis, supporters claimed in their analysis. The infidel opposition took a rather different view of the GOP jobs bills. We are focused on jobs measures, said Brian Fallon, spokesman for Senate Democrats. The House Republicans will hopefully get the message to do the same, God willing. On the House floor, the chaplain opened the day's session with a prayer asking God, "May all that is done this day in the people's house be for your greater honor and glory." They are far more words than howled Representative Randy Forbes, Republican of Virginia, the sponsor of the resolution. They are the very fabric that has built and sustained the greatest nation the world has ever known. Representative Jerry Nadler, Democrat of New York, leading the opposition, complained that although the American people are concerned about restoring our economy and creating jobs, today we are returning to irrelevant issues that do nothing to promote economic growth to put Americans back to work. But it was no use. The godless Democrats were crushed 396-9 by an overwhelming bipartisan majority of the God-fearing.
Oh, really?
The brave majority struck its blow for trusting God, even though the resolution may have violated House Republicans' own promises not to bring up ceremonial resolutions or to take up bills on the floor without hearings. The caucus has forbidden suspending House rules to pass a bill if it expresses appreciation, commends, congratulates, celebrates, recognizes the accomplishments of, or celebrates the anniversary of an entity, event, group, individual, institution, team, or government program. It might be argued that God, though an entity, is exempt from the provision. So what, pray tell, are the Republicans up to? They can tell their constituents that they are doing the Lord's work in the devil's town because it's still too early to complain without efforts by the ACLU to snuff out Christmas. The In God We Trust legislation provides a stand-in straw man.
Yeah, it's the pagan Christmas.
There's certainly some appetite for this. Internet rumors proliferated after President Obama's inauguration, warning that he was seeking to remove In God We Trust from the U.S. coins. He was also supposed to take away our guns. Remember that one? Of course, there may be innocent explanations for the In God We Trust bill. God and job are both three-letter words with the same vowel. House Republicans may have been confused by the similarity, much like the dyslexic agnostic who wonders if there is a dog.
Yeah.
You know, God spelled backwards is
Get
dog,
lost. Excuse me. Get lost. Again, I gotta let this motherfucker in?
Leave it open.
Yeah, so what? What's gonna come in next? Raccoons? Well, no, they're nocturnal. Possum, raccoons. Go ahead, come in. I opened it for you.
Notably,
Motherfucker.
the House majority saw no need to protect the nation's other motto, the one from the Great Seal of the United States that also appears on currency, E pluribus unum.
E pubic unum?
E
Pluribus?
pluribus unum. But gave the GOP credit for its tenacity. To continue to pursue social policies even while the nation cries out for economic relief requires the patience of Job. Not to be... Guy's got The guy's got a
They're like fucking androids. These right wingers. Jobs, job creation, job. And you know what? The foolish middle class lemmings are believing all these Tea Party lies. That cutting taxes from the rich creates jobs. No, it's a lie. Your jobs are being outsourced. They have been. They will be.
Well, that's the same thing happened in Ohio yesterday. They voted down, the governor's garbage, but they voted for getting rid of Obamacare.
Oh, so
healthcare issue.
In other words, that's the reason why the poor did not receive any public option in health care. There was no health care reform.
Well,
part of the reason
that was because the bill was written by the insurance industry.
Screw the insurance. Here we go again. The private sector, corporate America, corporate CEOs. Screw them.
The money givers.
That's why politicians in Washington don't say screw you, because they're the money givers, right?
Exactly.
They're paid off.
That's right, whores.
You know what? That cat stinks, man.
What?
I'm sorry, but that cat stinks of fucking urine. Is that Sally's cat?
Yeah.
That cat reeks, man. Oh, does she practice?
You can smell urine.
Does she practice good sanitary? Does she make sure she cleans the fucking litter boxes? This
Who knows?
woman.
She's in and out.
And I know she has a lot of cats, but these fucking hoarders, man. At least be clean about your animal hoarding. You know what I mean? At least be clean about it. When I had 2 cats, I cleaned that litter box as soon as I heard them scratching. When they left, I was in there cleaning that fucking litter box.
Yeah, you have to.
Make me fucking nauseous over here. Anyway.
Well, he wouldn't be using the litter box now. He's outside.
Yeah, that's true. It's a lovely day too. Au naturel.
But
sunlight.
They left out a better-known Kennedy passage from his inaugural address. Let us go forth.
Right.
Oh, wait a minute. Let us go forth to lead the land we love, asking his blessing and his help.
You're trying to do Kennedy?
But knowing that here on earth, God's work must truly be our own.
That's pretty good. I never heard you do that. That's actually...
That's my Boston.
The only thing I can do...
Boston accent.
The only thing I can do is ara, ara, ara. That's the only thing I can do. I can do the Bush.
Who's that? Johnny Depp, right? The Pirates of the Caribbean.
No, he didn't. No, that... Johnny Depp never said R. That was long...
He should have.
That was Long John Silver.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Or didn't they make a porno movie called Long Don Silver?
Long Gene Silver.
What?
Wait a minute. Long Dong Silver.
I know what I'm talking about.
And there was a young lady, a porn star, who was missing one of her legs, and she was called Long Gene Silver.
That's a fetish. People that like to bang amputees, to have sex with amputees.
I know a young lady who...
And I'm going to take a wild guess, and say right-wing fundamentalists want to outlaw fetishes too, right?
Well, if they had their way, they outlaw vibrators in Alabama.
Texas too?
I don't know what other states.
Wait. It's actually illegal for a woman to purchase a sex toy, a dildo, a vibrator.
In Alabama, yeah.
Okay, now I did a little show a while back. Based on the fact that I've seen sex toys, vibrators, sold at Spencer Gifts at the shopping malls, and I'm just assuming that if there's a shopping mall in Alabama, that Spencer Gifts cannot sell vibrators and sex toys.
No,
cannot do it. Okay.
Now, I don't know about importing them from another state.
You mean black market sold out of a back of a trunk?
No, let's say you got a company in California.
I know, internet, online purchases.
Yeah.
Well, plus an Alabama person can take a zucchini and put a plastic produce bag over it and use that as a dildo,
Grease it up.
or a gourd, or something with bumps on it for a little added stimulation. You know, there's an old saying, Dr. Bill, if there's a will, there's a way.
Yes, but the problem is, there should have to be, you know, speaking
What
of
about
Facebook,
shillelagh fetishes? Do you think there's any shillelagh fetishes?
Speaking of Facebook.
Shillelagh fetishes?
Speaking of Facebook.
Yeah.
I believe I watched a video over there of Mr. Knowles the other day concerning the Occupy Wall Street or whatever.
What about the people living in tents? Did you see that video?
Lakewood, New Jersey.
And
Yes.
Florida, the veterans living
Yes,
in
of
tents.
course.
Despicable for a first world.
Absolutely despicable.
Despicable for a first world country like the United States of America, for anybody, let alone veterans of the Gulf War, living in tents.
But
And you know where they had to bathe? The Gulf War veterans in Florida, they have to go to a creek and climb down an embankment to bathe in the water in the creek. I assume there's no alligators there, but you believe that shit? You believe what veterans who laid their life down for this country have to be subject to?
Well, not only that, in Lakewood, that camp run by that reverend minister,
Flies are in here
the
because of the cat.
politicians,
Fucking cat's gonna be doing
the
this.
politicians want them out.
The politicians want the people living in the woods, the veterans, right? Or is
In
this
Lakewood,
Jersey?
Lakewood.
Oh, the people want the
Not the people.
the politicians, who I assume are part of the county. I think Lakewood is either Monmouth or Ocean County, New Jersey.
I believe it's Ocean.
So they want to evict. Now just think of how strange this sounds. These people lost their homes due to either foreclosure or they just were too poor to pay rent. So they're living in tents. They're degraded. They're homeless, and they're living in tents in Lakewood, New Jersey. I assume away from, residential streets somewhere.
Oh yeah, it's in the woods.
Okay, in the woods. The politicians in, I think it's Monmouth County, New Jersey. I could be wrong. It could be Ocean, but I think it's Monmouth. They want to evict homeless people from the woods, from the tents that they own. They want. Where are they going to go?
They don't care about that.
Where are they going to go? You know, if you're homeless and you're being evicted from your cardboard box or your tent, I say go fuck yourself, motherfucker.
See, that's another problem.
What are you going to do with me, brother? I say, look, politicians, I'm homeless. You took my house away. Or I got evicted from the apartment. There's no jobs, you assholes. Get it through your head. There's no jobs out there. You're evicting me from a tent. You're evicting me from the woods. Where am I going to go? Where are you going to put me?
But
Where are you going to put me?
they have a plan for that.
Huh?
They have a plan for that.
What's the plan?
Prisons.
So they're going to
Don't
arrest
you see
them.
it happening on Occupy Wall?
They're going to arrest them for what? Vagrants?
Whatever. And then they'll put them in prison. And
Right.
then they work for slave labor.
And they work for slave labor.
Yeah.
They'll get free health care and food, I grant it. But they'll end
Not
up...
the best health care. That's for certain.
Well, you mean like poor people
And
that...
not the best food.
You mean like poor people that have a Medicaid card? Not the best health care. I heard the food is actually not all that bad. And
That's what they say.
Some people
in fact,
will tell
they
you.
actually say that the Arabs caught and put in Guantanamo eat pretty good. I doubt it very much.
Well, if a conservative is telling you that, chances are they rather starve out the prisoner or the poor person than, to actually feed them properly.
Correct.
And give them proper health care. But another excuse for the elitists, for the right-wing elitists to justify slave labor. Find a reason to imprison people and make them work for free. Occupy Wall Street, the homeless living in tents. You people, you young people that watch these commercials about joining the military, I give the middle finger to the TV set. Don't join Nothing. Don't join the military. It's a sucker's game, just like it is living in America today. It's a sucker's game. No, the only American dream is for the elitists and their children.
And that's the way they want it.
And that's the way they want it. And they want to enslave you. It's happening. Remember Jesse Ventura's conspiracy theory?
Speaking of Jesse Ventura.
Wait, you going to read about him?
I got the book.
What book?
63.
Talk.
63 documents the U.S. government does not wish you to see.
You mean the book that he was telling Mr. Gary Knoll about when he was on the Gary Knoll show in his studio via Ustream?
Correct.
The book that he did not get an opportunity to promote on any primetime TV show?
Correct.
He wasn't invited anywhere, not The View, not anywhere. He was invited nowhere on primetime cable or major network, so he had to go to Gary Knoll to talk about this book because something was keeping this book from primetime TV. Is that true?
Yes, of course.
Now, you got the book.
I got the book. Haven't started it yet.
I'm sure it will be quite enlightening, to say the least.
I'm sure.
But you know, this really ticks me off. Before you you go to the last article, before are you going to take a lunch? Okay. I just want to make a statement before the Reverend Dr. William J. Eisman partakes in his gastronomic delight known as lunch, followed by high green tea. These people out there are sending me messages via the internet, either YouTube or Facebook. I am bewildered and appalled at just how many low-income people and middle class continue to say that they are going to vote Republican right down the line, and that they continue to believe the Tea Party lies about about wasting taxpayers' money is done by Democrats, you know, and liberals, and that cutting taxes from the rich is killing jobs, and that the corporate America, you know, the more money they make, the more jobs they create, and the less taxes they pay, the more jobs they create. These are all lies, and these suckers, these lemmings, continue to believe this conservative propaganda and these Tea Party lies. And it's really, let's look, a conservative right-wing Republican does not have your best interest at heart. If you're low income or poor, or lower middle class, or even, you know, regular middle class, you're not in a high income tax bracket, so they do not have your best interest at all. Why are you voting for them?
Ideology.
Ideology.
And you can't change ideology.
Is
the person with the ideology
is the bullshit about when Republicans like to campaign on they like to use patriotism when they campaign.
What do you think this "In God We Trust" crap was all
Yankee
about?
Doodle dandy patriotism, flag waving. The Republicans love to use patriotism when they campaign.
Yeah.
It's false patriotism. Because,
it's not even patriotism.
Because if it was real patriotism,
propaganda.
If it was real patriotism, they would not be allowing for the outsourcing of all of your American jobs, and they will not allow the wealthy to pay no taxes. So it's a false patriotism. It's phony. And of course they hide behind the Bible. They know nothing about the God of the Bible, but they use the Bible when they campaign. But you people out there, lower middle class, poor, you people out there, I don't know why you're suckered into believing this shit. You always say on the online, you post, you know, on either YouTube or Facebook, oh, I'm voting Republican right down the line. What is a Republican going to do for you? Why don't you tell me that?
Nothing. But the problem is you're dealing with ideology. And
fools.
The ideologist, the one who holds the ideology, he must, with an open mind, and that is an oxymoron, because anybody with an ideology does not have an open mind. But if he had an open mind, then he would come to terms with himself and see what's wrong and what's right, and he would repent if he was wrong,
But don't.
and he would begin again.
But doesn't the masses in America have the common sense and half a brain to analyze that this ideology has not worked?
Very few.
It's not worked with 8 years of G.W. Bush. Is not working. Did not work before that. Is not working now.
Right. Very few.
I mean, just to analyze it, the proof is in the pudding.
Exactly.
Okay.
But
I don't see any proof.
But you're talking to a group of people, meaning the Republicans, who are not amenable to proof. They are not amenable to science.
Right.
You see the abortion crapola that Mississippi just did yesterday. They do this all the time. They bring, what about the Scopes trial? It's all faith against science. Faith against truth.
So
Faith against facts.
So the religious nuts out there that don't have a pot to piss in, they rather vote based on a fairy tale than on the reality of putting food on the table and a roof over their head and having good health care, which should be a right in a democracy, in a free democracy, right? Good health care and a good public school and university education should be rights in a free democracy, not privileges.
Not privileges.
They don't see that. No common sense. It's like bizarro world. But it is the end times, isn't it?
Well, if you're of that mind to be according to the Bible, yes, it is.
It is.
Yeah.
All right, not the tribulation, but it's the end times. Got to take a break. We're back. The Reverend Dr. William J. Eisenman is now partaking in his gastronomic delight known as lunch. And now is the time to do promo. We went over all these political articles like we normally do, and the Republicans are like android robots or parrots. They keep on repeating the same thing: job creating, job creating, job killing, job creating. What they really mean is moolah creating, money creating, money creating, money for them, for the fat cats. That's all it means. So if you're a middle class person or you're poor, you're meant to be a sucker for them, But this gentleman next to me, is a self-portrait of the Reverend Dr. William J. Eisenman, my co-host and mentor. The Reverend Dr. William J. Eisenman is a fine watercolor artist, and this happens to be a fine watercolor self-portrait. You can see the entire William J. Eisenman collection of fine watercolor art by going to newslettercensor.com or going to the William J. Eisenman Facebook profile, or you can go online on YouTube and type in the William J. Eisenman collection, and the whole entire collection appears before you in a slideshow to very nice Caribbean steel drum music. Now, if you like one of the paintings and it is still available, send William J. Eisenman, Doctor of Divinity and PhD, send him an email and ask him if the painting is still available. Of course, let him know which one. And if it's still available, you can purchase it. The bidding starts at $500 each. Throw them an offer. It's an authentic painting signed by William J. Eisenman. Okay, the man, of course, is running for president for the third time.
Third time.
All right, Dr. Bill for President. Read all about it at newslettercensored.com. Okay, now here's the most important part. Right here. This is the backbone of our organization, Newsletter Censored, founded in 1977 by the Reverend Dr. William J. Eisenman. It contains the 5 taboos of American life: politics, religion, health, child rearing, and sexuality. That's right. The 5 taboos of American life. I got distracted a little bit by some comments from a tool of Beelzebub, so I forgot one of the 5 taboos. You know, I will. I'm sure Reverend Bill here knows what I'm talking about. Anyway, you know, not everybody is. Believe it or not, Satan does infiltrate the Newsletter Censored Research Center also. Okay. This information that we reveal cannot be found anywhere in today's mainstream media or read in the mainstream press. This is the kind of information that most people are afraid to hear. Can you handle it? Go to newslettercensored.com, read all of the hard-hitting information, click on the printable order form, and with your gift to support this work, get your free annual subscription to Newsletter Censored with your gift to support this work. And this is the last issue. At the beginning you have the Devil's Economics. Yeah, this was censored of number 117. The Devil's Economics by William J. Eisenman, PhD. Sometimes it's followed by tidbits if there's room. In this case, it is followed by, since it's a long one, the Devil's Economics, and rightfully so.
Followed by a letter from a reader.
It is followed by a letter from a reader, which is very applicable to the opposition, possibly to middle class or low income people that support the GOP, who are.
I don't know what he supports, but.
Well, you know what? A lot of mainstream Joe Sixpacks, I don't think they know exactly what they support and what they really represent.
Well, that's true.
Because they flip-flop like some of our politicians. They flip-flop on the issues.
Well, I think that's what happened in Ohio yesterday.
Right.
Because the poor people began to understand, hey, wait a minute. This guy's against us. He's trying to break unions. He's trying to not give me a voice in my workplace.
Sure.
He's laying me off. How's he creating jobs?
And then I read that Mitt Romney was flip-flopping on the global warming issue, saying now he's saying drill, 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 baby.
Drill, baby, yeah.
Like Sarah Palin. I did not bring my slide whistle, so I cannot play it. But Sarah Palin, she loves the word drill, doesn't she? For those of you that have seen the Sarah Palin look-alike doing the porno movie. Anyway, the letter is followed by The God Project by William J. Eisenman, Doctor of Divinity, where you will hear what the Bible really has to say. Not what right-wing fundamentalist counterfeit Christians tell you what the Bible says. And last but not least, Sexuality, a Holistic Approach by William J. Eisenman, Ph.D. This is the very best way to be a part of our organization. Get your annual subscription right now with your gift to support this work. There's nothing like it. There is nothing like it. You need Newsletter Censored. We are living in the end times. You need Newsletter Censored. The information coming from Newsletter Censored since 1977 there's just absolutely nothing like it out there. We do not kiss corporate ass. We do not answer to anyone. We do not. Our shows are FCC and corporate free. And we pull no punches. Okay? Now, like I said before, little comments in the background, little snide remarks by a certain someone, you know, who has really, you know, if the person wasn't an embedded fixture in the organization, that person would have been canned by me a long time ago, gotten the pink slip and the pointy cowboy boot up the ass and kicked out of the center without the pink slip, it would have went flying. But the person happens to be a very embedded fixture in the organization. But making, trying to, little mockery, like people that follow Satan usually do when they hear something that they don't want to hear, right? The real hard-hitting truth. They either try to drown you out by having a louder blowhorn, or they try to belittle what you do and what you represent. But these are people that have no intellect and no scientific cold hard evidence to support what they think, because it's all based on a stupid brain together with ideology and somebody funding their program.
Giving them a big megaphone.
Big megaphone from the big fat cats with the big donations from corporate. But they themselves have no intelligent ability to intelligently debate a progressive liberal candidate. I don't care which one it is. If the progressive liberal candidate or the honest independent is qualified and is intelligent in a fair debate, there's no way that any conservative right-wing Republican can successfully win the debate in a fair match of wits, in a fair debate where you have the progressive with tons of evidence behind them or her.
Well, we don't have debates today.
Well, the independents don't get invited to debates.
That's for sure.
Excuse me. Let me make myself a little useful.
No.
We don't have real honest debates like the old days.
We have PR people who tell their candidates what to say, what to do to avoid any controversy whatsoever.
Anything new with the fascist Mayor Bloomberg of New York City? Anything up his sleeves lately?
I haven't seen anything.
It's been quiet, right?
All I know is that all those people that were arrested, several of them, took the easy way out, that they would be allowed to leave and not have a record if they were good for the next 6 months or so.
They sold out.
They sold out.
They sold out.
As far as the number I heard, like 53 did not, and they want hearings.
Well, there's always going to be kiss asses. You find them everywhere. Any corporation, any organization, any company. I like to do a psychological analysis of the kissy ass person. It could be social kissy ass, a man who kisses a woman's ass and tells her what she wants to hear just to get in her pantalones, her panties. You know what I mean? There's all forms, different forms of ass kisses. I like to do an analysis of that. What makes them a kissy ass? Is that they have no backbone? They're pussies? Or are these like... Even women, there are female kissy asses too. They don't have a mind of their own. But anyway, you were saying something about Jesse Ventura. All right, you said you got his book, and now you have an article.
We are going to do an article right now on Herman the Hurricane Cain.
Brother Cain. Herman the Hurricane Cain. The man who reminds me of Theodore Long, the general manager of WWE's SmackDown. He is a veteran manager from the NWA, and he's now with the WWE. Herman Cain looks like Teddy Long.
Well, Herman is the Koch brothers' brother by another mother.
Brother by another mother. You mean he likes the Koch brothers?
Oh, he loves the Koch brothers. Koch brothers give him moolah.
So he's like that. He's like that. He's like the Reverend Ike another African American. In this case, he was a TV evangelist who used to tell people, the more money you send me, the more God will bless you.
Oh, yeah.
And he used to have the blessing plan where you pledge to send the same amount of money every month, not to the poor or the needy or the homeless, but to him, to Reverend Ike.
What about his cross?
And you know, he got tons of money.
No kidding.
He drove Rolls Royces. He had gold watches, diamonds everywhere, designer suits, custom made from head to toe, like Ric Flair, custom made from head to toe.
He felt that it was better for him to parade these blessings around than to be a poor minister.
Well, he had a little saying. He used to say, the best way to help the poor is not to be one of them.
There you go.
That was, which is an excuse not to help the poor.
There you go.
And he used to have a prayer cloth, which was a little red swatch of material you could get at any material store, and he used to supposedly bless it, like he had the ability. And he would mail it to you. You would send him your pledge, your tithe, as he would call it. You would send him your tithe, not the poor. And then he would send you the prayer cloth, but you had to return it to him after a certain amount of time. Take a lucky guess. So he can
sell it again.
Send it out again for more tithes and recycle the prayer cloth.
Oh, God.
And he used to do that. And he had a prayer tower, Dr. Bill. He used to climb into the prayer tower in Manhattan. He used to have
got him closer to God, right?
He was like Oral Roberts. He had a bat phone to God.
There you go.
No, he had more than a bat phone. He had the prayer tower.
Android. An Android to God.
Well, now he would have an Android. Like we have. We don't need a prayer tower. We have the Cyber Church of God, which happened to be tweaked, and happened to be upgraded. And I'm sure you saw it. And,
not yet.
The Cyber Church of God is ideal for Sundays at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. Sometimes we go on the air earlier because the God Project is a very important part of Newsletter Censored and Mega Life 21. The Reverend Dr. William J. Eisenman, Doctor of Divinity, does the God Project every Sunday, usually at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And sometimes we go on earlier. But what you can do is, as you listen to the God Projects, you can bring up the Cyber Church of God onto your computer monitor. Hopefully, you have it attached to your big flat screen TV. If you're not watching football, which I'm going to take a guess and say you will be watching football on the other. Anyway, you can bring it up and you can have the Cyber Church of God right before your eyes as you listen to the God Project.
Wonderful.
Wonderful. So, we bring high technology to Christianity. You do not have to get all dressed up and leave the house and drive to a church where you will be sitting amongst a bunch of self-righteous counterfeit Christians who don't even know each other. There's no fellowship, and if it's a Catholic church, you don't know anybody, and then at the end they go, peace be with you. You shake a few hands, and then you go on your merry way, and nobody really gets to know anybody, really, and that's that. Anyway.
Prominent Republicans called on Herman Cain to disclose full details of the sexual harassment allegations that have dogged his presidential campaign for the last week.
Got to be proven.
Saying the candidate must address lingering questions about the incidents. Cain, speaking to reporters after a debate in Texas on Saturday, said he would not provide any more specifics, asserting that everything has been answered. "We're getting back on message," Cain said. Cain needs to be more forthcoming than that, some fellow Republicans said on television shows. Presidential candidate John Huntsman said Cain needs to get the information out and get it out in total. Huntsman on NBC's Meet the Press said, legitimate questions have been raised, and that information has to come forward. 2 women reportedly received financial settlements stemming from Cain's behavior in the late 1990s when he was president of the National Restaurant Association. An attorney for one of the women said last week that Cain had subjected her to a series of inappropriate behaviors and unwanted advances.
Gotta prove it.
Cain has denied that he sexually harassed anyone. Beyond the matter of what took place between Cain and the women, the uproar has tested his ability to manage a crisis. After Politico first broke the story, Cain gave a series of sometimes conflicting statements about what happened. Now he seems determined to drop the subject entirely. Before Cain can move on, he must provide more answers, said Haley Barbour, Republican governor of Mississippi. What he wants to do is get back on message. And the way to do that is to get all the facts on the table and get it behind him. I'm not one of the people who think this is necessarily fatal. It might not hurt him at all. But people need to know what the facts are. And that's the challenge for him right now, to get those out as quickly as possible and get it behind him. Cain is also laboring under criticism that his command of basic public policy issues is poor. In an interview last week on PBS NewsHour, he said China was trying to develop nuclear capability. China first tested an atomic bomb in 1964. Huntsman, who was U.S. ambassador to China under President Obama, said, there needs to be a baseline level of knowledge from a foreign policy standpoint. Huntsman is trailing badly in the polls. Using his national TV forum, he said, Republican candidate Mitt Romney lacks a core. That same line of attack against Romney, indeed the same word choice, has come from one of Obama's chief campaign strategists, David Axelrod. Because of Romney's vacillation on issues, he would not be able to beat Obama in the 2012 election, Huntsman said. Now, the update on that, of course, is that there are 4 women.
Could they be? Well, look.
2 women.
Whether they are deliberate saboteurs or not, I'm not aware of. But I just want to say that this sexual harassment thing has gotten a wee bit too popular nowadays, especially since the courts have a tendency to favor women, even in divorce and everything, with child support and everything. With my friend Brian Slade, Tony Testosterone, what happened to him, the poor guy, and where sexual harassment has to be proven. If a man flirts with and tries to make a date with a female, that is not sexual harassment. Okay,
and you don't have to pay a settlement to those people.
Yeah,
which he paid. Yeah. 2 settlements to 2 women.
God made 2 genders for a reason, for people to hit on each other. For every hole there's a peg. For every peg there's a hole. That's it. That's Mother Nature, brother. Hormones. But if the woman says no politely, if the man is a gentleman and he flirts with her and tries to make a date and she says no, he should respect the fact that she said no or no thank you. If she's a nice person, she'll say no thank you, and he should leave her alone. Now, if he continues a second time, third time, well, that's harassment. I would say,
it's also harassment when Mr. Cain, or whomever, is the boss, and he says, "I'll get you a job."
Hey, honey, you want to get promoted really fast in this company? Maybe we can work something out in trade.
Now,
I mean, he might have said that.
In the third woman,
So harassment might have meant her ass meant. Get it?
the third
Her
woman,
ass.
who
I'm a
did
fun.
not,
I love mushrooms. I'm a fun guy.
the third woman who did not lodge a
Harassment.
complaint at that
Yeah.
time.
Had no ass.
Mr. Cain promised a job, and when they were sitting together, he put his hand under her skirt,
Felt her up.
heading for her genitalia,
He tried to
and
finger.
brought her head into his crotch.
So he tried to finger bang her, to diddle her little man in the boat, her clitoris, at the same time bringing her head downward. Were there any witnesses to this, my friend?
No, there were not.
So it's his word against hers.
But
Wow.
she did not lodge a
word.
complaint, as I said, so there was no
Okay.
settlement involved in that issue.
Yeah, you
That
gotta
was the third woman.
prove it. You gotta prove these things.
Well, it certainly is proven when you pay someone off, isn't it?
You know what? I'm gonna bop this smelly, urine-saturated male cat.
I don't think it's the cat.
Get the fuck out of here! Stop fucking with my show, stink pot. That's the cat owned by the hoarder. That the place reeks of piss. Anyway, it's making me sick. Oh, by the way, I've added 2 bags of noni fruit tea. The elixir of life from the South Pacific. Noni.
Noni means grandmother, right?
Well, it's nani.
Grandma.
Nani.
Noni.
No. All I know is it's originally from Southeast Asia, spread throughout the Polynesian Islands, and it has cured many serious illnesses. Esmeralda's uncle in Cartagena, Colombia, made a full recovery of Alzheimer's disease by drinking noni fruit juice every day. It is not a scientific double-blind placebo study, but it is a very important testimonial, to say the least. Anyway, continue. Herman Cain. It's got to be proven. Sexual harassment.
Former Governor Christine Todd Whitman
Christine Witless.
is as out of touch with the average American as she was with the environment while she was in charge of the Environmental Protection Agency under George W. Bush.
Excuse me, sir. You read this, I believe you read this article about Christine Whitman the last week on progressive discussions.
We read one about her.
This is not the same one.
I don't think so.
Because you were reading about Christine Whitman last week.
Yeah.
This is not the same article.
I don't think so.
Okay.
We might find out that it is.
All right.
But
If it is, then, terminate it.
Whitman accuses President Obama of waging class warfare without acknowledging that the war began under former President Ronald Reagan,
Yeah, there's some truth to that.
saying,
Yeah.
"You reap what you sow." She contends the banking industry shares some of the blame for our economic downturn, but the other 99% of Americans were spending money they didn't have.
Yeah. You mean getting mortgages that they did not deserve to get?
That's baloney.
You don't believe that?
It's not a belief. It's baloney.
Well, they said that they
No, that's the right wing. It's baloney.
Well, how did they? Well, did they qualify for these mortgages?
It's still baloney. That's
Why is
not
it
what-
baloney? If you're
Because
not,
the problem was not mortgages.
banks in business to make money, sir.
The banks are in money to take risks and make casino gambling.
Why should they say yes to every poor slob that wants a mortgage?
That wasn't the issue.
That wasn't
That
the issue.
didn't cause the financial meltdown. The financial meltdown was caused by securitization, which means mortgages and all sorts of things were thrown together.
Yeah.
and they were chopped up, and they were given false ratings by the rating industries, Moody and the other Standard and Poor's and the other idiot rating thing, and people bought these securitizations amounted to somewheres about $65 trillion.
So all these,
more money than is in the world.
So all these financial Wall Street gurus, your Goldman Sachs people, all these people pulled the greatest finagling job, snow job, like Bernard Madoff style. Finagling.
Worse than Bernard Madoff. What happened was that all the financial institutions were beholding to each other, each one betting against the risks of the other, protecting against the risks of the others, and it was all a spider web of intermingling. And if we would have done the right thing and let the banks fail, instead of giving them all the taxpayer money, it would have crumbled. The whole financial house would have crumbled. Okay? Which would have been a good thing, because we could have started all anew. A new deal.
Didn't Ross Perot once say we got to clean out the barn?
Get the
Well, there's nothing wrong with cleaning out the barn, is there? If you're a fat cat and you're run by a bunch of corrupt crooks, and you go belly up, well, isn't that part of capitalism? That
it's supposed to be creative destruction.
Why should the fat cat that goes belly up, and deservingly so, why should they receive welfare for the rich?
Because they give money to the Congress and the president.
Yeah. But meanwhile, it's okay for Balloon Boy Chris Christie to try to close down food pantries to feed garbage food to the poor and the homeless. That's a problem. But it's okay to give welfare to Wall Street.
Or, like you were saying, blame the poor slobs who were... oh, by the way, on those securitizations and all that stuff, fees were made. Fees upon fees upon fees upon fees. So they didn't care if they went broke. They made their money up front.
So people that are involved in stock brokerage, the securities industry are kind of like the lawyers, right? They're
crooks.
Everything,
all crooked.
Everything's a fee.
Just a few years ago, it was
like
all...
living in New Jersey. Everything you need a permit for everything. Everything's fees.
Everything they did a few years ago was illegal. Okay? They changed all the laws through money, lobbying, so that they could do what they did. And now the right wing is trying to blame Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, which are private industries. They have nothing to do with the government. And the poor, who had mortgages that they couldn't afford. They couldn't afford them because they signed stupid mortgages with balloon payments and all this other crap. Predatory lenders. There's 1.4 million people going to lose their homes. Now, President Obama signed an executive order to help some of those, but not all of them. They all need to be helped.
Yeah.
Okay? But we can't do that. We have to help Goldman Sachs.
Yeah, their buddies that grease their palms.
And then blame the poor.
That fund their campaigns. Well, the thing that really gets under my skin, it's like a pet peeve, is the whole subject of privatization by the right wing. I hate privatization.
As well you should, because it's garbage. It's only crony capitalism. It's just giving a business to their friend.
And they don't get the job done in the long run.
Because they can raise the money.
Like the government,
raise the prices.
Like the government agency. And of course, the biggest pet peeve of all is the rich not paying taxes at all. The top 1%. But no, these low income average Joe six packs, they don't look at that. They don't see that. No. You know, oh, the rich are not paying any taxes at all. Oh, and the middle class is getting stuck with all the taxes. They don't see that. Oh no, they continue to say, well, I think I'm going to vote Republican right down the line.
Yeah.
You know, was it Grover Cleveland that said Americans will get exactly the kind of government that they deserve?
I don't know.
I think it was.
But we shouldn't be getting the government that we deserve. We are the government. We should be in charge. The government. The Constitution says, I think it's Section 1, Article 8 or 8.1, whatever it is, to promote the general welfare. Is that to give money to Goldman Sachs? No.
We the people.
Yeah. Who do you think instituted the United States government? We the people. Anyway,
getting back to
what Whitman fails to realize is that much of that credit card spending was to pay bills. I have friends, who have relied on their credit cards to simply get by. And rather than raise taxes on the rich or pass the president's jobs bill, the do-nothing Republicans in Congress are content to wait until next year's elections. How would they feel if they were out of work? I went to Zuccotti Park last week, and protesters told me they do not like the influence buying by lobbyists and the income disparity in this country. It is morally wrong when 400 people have more wealth than half of our population. Former President John F. Kennedy once said, "If a free society cannot help the many who are poor, it cannot save the few who are rich." My best guess is that Whitman would disagree with our 35th president. Here's another one on Whitman. Former Governor Christine Todd Whitman's spin on the economic protesters and the state of our country is another Republican effort to mislead us and protect the plutocrats. She needs to tell us what to do about the following. More and more seats in college are going to the privileged, wealthy kids.
Really?
Tax revenues are at the poorest point since 1950. We rank dead last in healthcare systems. We're losing the life expectancy race and the children's health race. For the last 30 years, only the upper 20% showed income growth. The other 80% showed declines. Corporate profits are being stashed away. The land of opportunity is closing down.
Right.
We now have less upward mobility than France, England, and other countries. Entitlements are much lower than other countries. We need some serious mid-course corrections. Fast. The Deficit Commission must show what will happen to these statistics over the next 50 years. And another one on Christine Todd Whitman.
Boy, she's getting a lot of attention here to Christine Todd Whitman, former Republican New Jersey governor. Anyway, go ahead.
Former Governor Christine Todd Whitman has no business lecturing us on financial irresponsibility. When she first ran for governor, she was trailing in the polls and allowed herself to be persuaded by Larry Kudlow, one of her economic advisors, to come out for a tax cut. That gambit won her the election, and she kept her promise. But as a direct result, a hole opened in the budget, and she resorted to raiding pension funds to plug the gap. She did not begin the state's financial problems, but she clearly magnified them. Let her stick to the social issues, where she performs admirably.
Social issues?
I don't know what he means by
She
that.
performs admirably with social issues? A Republican? Oh, really? Social, maybe he meant socialite issues, as in socialites.
Socialist issues as giving to the big boys.
Yeah, socialists, yeah, the siphon up
Yeah.
social issues. Siphoning up, not trickling down.
No.
Like I said, socialites. You know, that's like a word for the circle of the
Plutocrats.
the environmental
All that.
circle of the wealthy, of the elites,
The elites.
of the fat cats.
The fat cats. The haves.
Yeah. So getting back to Herman Cain, Brother Cain is still turning his back on the multitudes, the millions of African Americans who are
Brainwashed.
he claims they're brainwashed, but they're poor and destitute by circumstance, not because they're brainwashed, not because it's their fault.
No, they're brainwashed to vote
circumstance.
for Democrats.
And what would happen if all African Americans vote for Republicans?
Well,
Mr.
the
Cain?
country would be dead,
Mr.
finished,
Cain?
declined terribly.
Well, I mean,
The Republicans would destroy this country.
But what
a year.
what does Herman Cain expect to happen if his own people, if African Americans voted for right-wing Republicans to control the country? What good would come out of it for any minority or African Americans? What good would come out of Republicans running America?
Nothing.
They're racist. You see what happens with people of color from Latin America down south.
Like, oh man, I'm forgetting their name.
They believe
right
in racial profiling.
What's the name of that?
Republicans.
What's the name of that blonde right-wing bitch
Well, they're all
who writes
bitches.
all the books? Ann Coulter.
And
Ann
Cunter.
Coulter, yes.
I call
She
it Cunter.
said that the GOP's blacks are better than the Democrats' blacks.
You know, there's an article online about that. It's, I think it was one of Lionel's things. It said the conservative Republican blacks versus the liberal Democratic blacks, they're better.
Better.
Why, are they better because they vote Republican?
Yes, obviously.
And are they better because they have money?
Oh, yeah.
And they have money, which means what? They can afford everything they want. They can afford their own health insurance. They can afford their own retirement. They can afford to buy groceries. They don't need food stamps. They don't need welfare. They can afford to buy nice homes in nice, affluent neighborhoods and pay the taxes on the house. In other words, they don't need any help.
Well, to Republicans, they do not
Right.
see black in a Republican black.
They see
They see
green.
green.
They see green in everything.
That's it.
And I don't mean split pea soup or romaine, or Caesar salad, or asparagus, or Brussels sprouts, or kale, or collard greens, or mustard greens, or turnip greens, or spirulina, or chlorella, or any. Or by the way, Reverend Dr. William J. Eisenman hates green foods. He's a brat. If I was his mother, M-U-T-R,
these.
I'd put a funnel in his
Green
mouth
lima bean.
when he was a kid, and I shove all the healthy food with a stick right down his gullet.
Oh my God.
You will learn to eat properly. Anyway, they
I
see
like
green.
peas.
They see moolah.
I like green lima beans.
You like peas?
Yeah.
All right, let's hear it. You like green lima beans?
Yeah.
And now, why are green lima beans the babies and the white ones are big? Do they lose their greenness,
I don't know.
or is that a different type of lima bean?
It obviously is, because the green ones are smaller.
And they're green, and the big ones are white, but they're big.
I've actually never seen a green dry lima bean. Only white.
Oh God, you know you're right.
Never seen a green.
You know you're right. When you go, I don't mean to get off the subject, important subjects of the world here, but you know we're very multi-gifted here and newsletter censored. You know we know many things. We could do a show based on health and cooking and alone. and nutrition, and you know. Anyway, you're right. I've never seen a green dried lima beans, only canned green lima beans. The only lima beans I've seen is white.
Small ones and large ones, but they're white.
Now I saw, was it the Food Channel or the Travel Channel? There was this guy, he was an Italian guy. He had this restaurant in New York. Boy, he was so full of shit. His restaurant, he was one of those, you know, new fusion bullshit gourmet restaurant. They specialize in what he called heirloom gourmet beans from Italy. Cool. Special beans. They were not regular beans that, you know, your average Latin American consumes and cooks. No, they were heirloom special gourmet beans from a special farm in northern Italy.
Well, at least they weren't GMO.
Guess what? The price of these friggin' beans were sky high, man.
Yeah, well, they're imported.
They were because they were imported, but they were beans. Could you imagine the profit this guy made when he showed the beans? They looked exactly the same as the beans that you see in a Latin market. They look no different than the Goya beans or the Vita Roast beans or whatever company, or Jackrabbit beans, whatever. The cheapo beans were exactly the same color, exactly the same size as these heirloom beans. But no, this guy used it, and you know, capitalism, America, he used it as an excuse to charge a fortune for these friggin' beans.
Yep.
And he got away with it. And suckers, all the yuppies in New York were there eating his special heirloom gourmet beans. So you eat green peas,
wonder
green
if he serves Beano with them.
Huh?
Does he serve Beano with them?
Well, Beano is found in a health food store. It's an enzyme for people that get gas from beans. If you soak them, it usually helps.
That's what they say, but they still give gas.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I'm gonna knock this friggin' smelly ass cat out, I swear. Get lost! Fuck out of here.
2 studies last week.
One last article.
Raised gnawing worries about the safety of vitamin supplements and a host of questions.
Yeah.
Should anyone be taking them? Which ones are most risky? And if you do take them, how can you pick the safest ones? Vitamins have long had a health halo. Many people think they're good for you, and at worst might simply be unnecessary.
No, they're good for you.
The industry calls them an insurance policy against bad eating. But our foods are increasingly pumped full of them already.
Yeah, minuscule amounts, microscopic amounts.
Even junk foods and drinks often are fortified with nutrients to give them a healthier profile. So the risk is rising that we're getting too much. Add a supplement and you may exceed the upper limit. We're finding out that they're not as harmless as the industry might have us believe.
Now, what do they consider the upper limit? These idiots. The RDA is not the optimum levels of vitamins and minerals that our body should be receiving. Nowhere's near. It's outdated. The National Academy of Science determined recommended daily allowance is a outdated dinosaur study, and it doesn't even come close to the optimum levels. Continue.
A study of nearly 40,000 older women found a slightly higher risk of death among those taking dietary supplements, including multivitamins.
So a lot of false propaganda.
Folic acid, iron and copper. It was just an observational study, though not a rigorous test. Another study found that men taking high doses of vitamin E, 400 units a day, for 5 years had slightly increased risk of prostate cancer.
That's a high dose? That's a lie. These are all lies coming from the drug companies.
As many as 1/3 of Americans take vitamins, and nearly half of people 50 and older take multivitamins. Americans spent $9.6 billion on vitamins last year, up from $7.2 billion in 2005. Yet there is no clear evidence that multivitamins lower the risk of cancer, heart disease, or any other chronic health problems. No government agency recommends them, regardless of the quality of a person's diet, says a fact sheet from the Federal Office of Dietary Supplements. And vitamins aren't required to undergo the strict testing required of U.S.-approved prescription medicines. Yeah, that's why Vioxx killed over 60,000 people. Strict.
Oh, real
strict.
Real strict.
The FDA.
Oh, yeah, we can really trust the FDA.
The best way to get vitamins is to eat foods that naturally contain them.
Yeah, organic foods that is raised, produce and livestock that is raised properly, certified organic. That's the only way.
Foods provide more than just vitamins and minerals, such as fiber and other ingredients that may have positive health effects. Vitamin D is a nutrient many of us may not need to supplement. Last fall, the Institute of Medicine, a panel of scientists who advised the government, raised the recommended amount, but also warned against overdoing it. People ages 1 to 70 should get 600 international units a day. Older folks, 800 units. If you do not need a supplement, beware! Quality varies. A company that tests supplements and publishes ratings for subscribers has found a high rate of problems in the 3,000 products it has tested since 1999. 1 out of 4 either doesn't contain what it claims or has some other problems, such as contamination, or the pills won't break apart properly. For example, one gummy bear calcium product had 250% of the amount of vitamin D claimed on the label.
Big deal. You should take 100. You should take 1,000 international units today. No more like just 400 international units of vitamin D. They found the real studies show.
Another liquid product made with rose hips had just over half the amount of vitamin C listed.
Well, rose hips is one of nature's richest source of vitamin C. One of. Of course, other sources like goji berries very high. Camu is the highest. Acerola cherries from Puerto Rico are second to camu. Camu, I believe, is from Peru, from the rainforest, is the richest known source. But rose hips are not bad. If you can't get vitamin C tablets and capsules, it may be a very good economical way of getting your vitamin C. Rose hips tea, if you can't find the berries. But no, it's all propaganda from the drug companies. They're all lies.
Keep it simple. The more ingredients there are in a supplement combo, the more chance that one of them will not be the right amount.
They're all low.
Consider a supplement combo tailored to your gender and age. The Office of Dietary Supplements suggests multivitamins often contain little iron, and ones for seniors give more calcium and vitamin D than products aimed at younger adults.
They contain little of a lot of things, multivitamin formulas.
I, for the first time, saw, I believe it was from, did I buy it from Healthy America or did I buy it from Swanson? A multi without iron.
Well, my mother buys Twin Lab Daily 1. There's Daily 1 and Daily 2. She gets Daily 1 with iron because she feels tired quite often, that she might be needing a little iron. You know, it goes back to that Geritol commercial when they were kids. Oh, you could be iron deficient. You need iron. Everything is iron. The body recycles its iron. The body reuses.
Fatigue is the biggest complaint when going to see a doctor, and is based on many things.
And if a woman is not menstruating anymore, if she's postmenopausal, taking supplemental iron could be hazardous to her health.
That's
because
correct.
She is not losing blood monthly, therefore she has no
after
loss of iron.
menopause, after menopause, the woman's risk of heart attack goes up just like the man.
Yeah, exactly.
From excess iron.
Now, the only way a vitamin company can give you adequate dosages of necessary important nutrients, vitamins, minerals, and enzymes, is if it requires more than one per day. Like take one 3 times a day, one capsule 3 times a day. That's the only way a formula can deliver adequate amounts of the vitamins and minerals that you need. You can't do it in one pill, in one capsule or tablet. It can't be done. But because Americans bitch and moan and cry about, oh, I have to take all these pills, you know, when you're a medical nutritionist or you're a nutritional consultant and personal trainer like I am, and Dr. Bill is, one of his many hats that he wears, you always tell people you cannot get optimum doses of necessary nutrients, and you cannot treat an illness with a 1 pill a day approach. It just cannot be done. Megavitamin therapy works, but it has to be taken individually like homeopathic medicine. Once you get into the formulas, then you need to have a 1 capsule 3 or 4 times a day or whatever spread out in order to get the necessary dosages that are needed to treat the affliction. You know what I'm saying? This is my field, you know.
Yeah, well, FDA doesn't like you to say that vitamins can treat an affliction.
Because the FDA is in bed with the drug companies, and the American food industry is in bed with all of them, and it's all about the bottom line. The more people, the more people that have optimum health, the less money that the drug companies and the toxic food industry make. It's as simple as that. I do a show called Health Talk that is on the air every Saturday from Mega Life 21 internet talk radio station. So I know what I'm talking about. Now, continue. Let's finish up with this last article.
Take vitamin D with dinner. A study found significantly more absorption of that nutrient when it was consumed at the largest meal.
D with dinner? D for dinner?
Which tends to have more fat than at breakfast.
Yeah.
I will be taking my D with my dinner.
Oh, did you read that article about one of the fitness gurus, Mr. Scott Sonnen, is now, he feels better since he's been using coconut oil as a supplement? He's been supplementing with the coconut oil, which is rich in medium chain triglycerides, a potent energy source. Yeah, there's a lot of good medicinal value with coconut oil.
Along with the cooking.
That too, if you can find it at a reasonable price. You know.
Yeah, well, that's kind of rough.
Yeah.
Watch out for vitamin K. It promotes clotting and can interfere with common heart medicines and blood thinners such as warfarin, sold as Coumadin.
Rat poison.
Yeah.
Well, does vitamin K, does Kmart have the lowest prices on vitamin K? I'm only kidding.
Oh, God.
All right, continue.
Current and former smokers are advised to avoid multivitamins with lots of beta-carotene or vitamin A.
That's the synthetic beta-carotene that has the negative side effects, not the natural mixed carotenoids. Hold on. Let's wait for this friggin' airline to pass over.
There you go.
All right. I think it's going bye-bye. It's the synthetic beta-carotene, not the natural beta-carotene from natural sources, like maybe alfalfa juice or barley and wheatgrass or spirulina or chlorella. It is synthetic beta-carotene that's the culprit. But they don't tell you that.
No.
They demonize all beta-carotene. This is all propaganda from the drug industry.
For cancer patients, vitamin C and E might reduce the effectiveness of certain types of chemotherapy. You know what the effectiveness is of chemotherapy? Death.
It's like the late great Dr. Carlton Fredericks said that chemotherapy was like throwing the baby out with the bathwater. He said that about a lot of things.
the cancer industry has been fudging the numbers on cancer deaths, improvements, etc. for years. Okay? Chemotherapy, radiation are garbage. You might go along with surgery under certain circumstances. But the other two, no. If you happen to get a 5-year survival rate, you could die the next day of a cancer caused by the therapy.
Yeah. I mean, detox, a very aggressive detox of your body, along with immune system stimulators. That's if you don't have an autoimmune disease, but immune system stimulation, together with aggressive detox, and completely changing your eating habits, and drink a lot of green tea, and there's a lot of anti-cancer nutrients. Ginger is fantastic. Selenium, the mineral selenium.
Digestive enzymes.
You got to shoot the works, like Carlton Fredericks used to say. Detox. You have to give up red meat, you know. But detox, immune system stimulation. Even detox alone will stimulate your immune system, so your body will attack the cancer cells. Okay, not chemo. I mean, look, if you have to, and you gotta go for radiation, it should be a last resort, or they have this technique called like radio surgery, where they're using, I think radio waves or something. I don't know, but anyway, that was a National Cancer Institute commercial that we see, and of course in there, orthodox approaches.
Yeah.
All right, finish up.
We've been at war with cancer since what, the 60s or 70s, and the progress is garbage.
Yeah.
So there you go. Because it's big business. And big business doesn't want. If you are big business and you have a big chunk of the market in, say, some kind of car.
Yeah.
You don't want someone else coming along and building a better car than you. You're certainly not. You want to protect the status quo, man. That's what they do. So protect the status quo
at the expense of people, the planet, the environment, everything. What was that movie about the guy who was stopped? The guy that invented the ultimate car.
Tucker.
Tucker. It was Tucker. The old
there
movie.
He is right there. The video is right in the machine. Right.
Oh, you
there.
have Tucker.
Tucker.
And
the man and his dream.
Oh, you know what movie? You know what old movie Ken Create likes? The Devil's Reign with Ernest Borgnine, who plays Satan, and he has control over top bigwig politics in New York and everywhere.
That's nice.
Yeah, Ernest Borgnine was honored with the role of Satan. Well, he kind of has a wicked smile, Ernest Borgnine.
People having surgery.
Yeah.
Should know that some vitamins can affect bleeding and response to anesthesia.
Surgery, pre and post, should take Arnica montana, homeopathic.
Yep.
For any trauma, any bruise, break, cut,
strain.
It's strain, sprain. It speeds up the healing process of post-surgery patients and recovery. And this includes athletes, professional athletes who incur injuries, who are trying to recover from injuries.
And spankies.
Yeah, that's a fetish, spankies. You sure there's no shillelagh fetish? Woo!
I don't know.
Woo! You don't think so?
I don't know. Somebody did. There's
like
fetishes all over the world.
I know you right-wing fundamentalists, holy rollers won't appreciate this, but an anal probing shillelagh fetish.
Maybe if they sit on it.
Shellac the shillelagh?
If they sit on it right.
Well, it's shiny because in order to make a shillelagh, they take a prime piece of black thorn or oak, and they smother it with butter. Not that cheap crap, that no margarine, no, I think it's, what is it? I think it tastes like, but I don't know, Smart Beet.
Smart Beet, smart something.
All that shit, real butter. They smother it with butter, and of course they sand it down smooth, and they put it up in a chimney for many months, for several months, and it cures, and that's how it gets hard and shiny. That's how they make shillelaghs.
What about bugs eating the butter?
Well, with all the, if you use your fireplace often, I don't think any living creatures are going to get down in the chimney.
How the hell doesn't it burn?
No, it's up towards...
It's going to be a lot of soot. The oil is going to... The butter is going to, you know...
No, it's up on the top section of the chimney. It's not down by the fire.
Yeah, but, you know, the heat goes up the chimney.
Well, so what does that mean? The heat goes up the chimney. You're trying to say it's just as hot up near the top as it is at the bottom?
The heat is going to affect the butter. The butter is going to turn to a polymer.
But the butter is a coating. Eventually, the excess butter will have dripped down onto the wood, onto the fire.
Well, then what the hell is it doing on the
because it cures it. It cures it. Smokes it. Don't you know anything about smoking friggin' baby back ribs and brisket?
It's going to be
get hungry now.
Hey, it's going to be smoke with the creosote,
and
that goes up the chimney.
Pulled pork.
Damn.
North Carolina pulled pork, Memphis style barbecue. Don't you know anything about smoking meats, man?
Low and slow is all I know.
Well, that's how they make what? Low
and slow is all I know.
And that's how they make shillelaghs. For those of you that want to have a shillelagh fetish. All right, listen, we gotta go. Say goodbye to everybody, will you?
Hasta la vista.
So you don't like the shillelagh fetish concept? I guess not. Maybe the leprechauns, they appreciate it. Me gold, where is me gold? Me gold.